Picture this. You meet a woman who instantly stands out. She's attractive. She's confident. Other men notice her the moment she enters the room. You do what you've been taught your entire life. You show interest. You invest emotionally. You make her feel safe. You're consistent, available, and respectful. At first, she responds positively. She smiles. She enjoys the attention. But then something changes. Her replies slow down. Her enthusiasm fades. She starts pulling back, and you're left confused. Because you didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right. At least you thought so. You listened. You showed up. You stayed consistent. You treated her well. You made her feel chosen. You made her feel safe. And for a moment, it worked. She smiled more. She leaned in. She seemed warm and receptive. But slowly, something changed. Not overnight. Not dramatically. Just enough for you to feel it. Her energy shifted. Her responses shortened. Her enthusiasm faded. And the confusing part was this. You hadn't pulled away. You hadn't done anything wrong. Most men grow up believing that attraction grows the more effort they put in. They're taught that consistency builds security and security builds love. What they're never told is that attraction does not follow the same rules as appreciation. A woman can deeply appreciate how a man treats her while simultaneously losing desire for him. These two emotional systems operate independently. Attraction is not a reward for good behavior. It is a response to perceived value. And perceived value is always relative. When a woman begins to feel emotionally ahead of a man, her subconscious starts reclassifying him. Not as a bad man, not as a dangerous man, but as a man she no longer needs to reach for. This is where attraction quietly dies. Female desire is not built on comfort alone. It is built on tension, not chaos, not cruelty, but the subtle sense that something still has to be earned. When a woman feels completely secure in a man's affection, her emotional investment begins to decline. She stops wondering. She stops imagining. She stops pursuing internally. Men often mistake emotional availability for attraction. They believe that being open, accommodating, and consistently present will deepen desire. In reality, too much availability removes the psychological friction that creates excitement. What is always there stops being noticed. What requires no effort stops being valued. This doesn't make women evil or manipulative. It makes them human. Their attraction systems evolved long before modern dating advice, long before social expectations, long before moral narratives about fairness and equality. For most of human history, women had to choose carefully. A weak choice could mean death. A poor decision could mean starvation or violence. Those survival pressures shaped instincts that still operate today. When a woman senses that a man's emotional center of gravity revolves around her, her biology interprets that as low value. It suggests he lacks options. It suggests he is afraid to lose her, and fear is never attractive, even when it comes from devotion. This is why so many women pull away from men who treat them well and cannot explain why. The loss of attraction feels irrational even to them. They may say they feel bored, or disconnected, or unsure. But the root cause is always the same. The power dynamic shifted, and with it, desire eroded. A man who overinvests gives away leverage without realizing it. He front-loads validation. He prioritizes her emotions over his direction. He slowly places her above himself. And once that hierarchy is established, attraction cannot survive. Desire requires something to look up to. The tragedy is that most men are punished for following the advice they were given. They become reliable, loyal, and emotionally available, believing this will secure the relationship. Instead, it signals that their attention is guaranteed. And guaranteed attention loses value. Understanding this changes everything. It reframes rejection. It reframes withdrawal. It reframes the confusion men feel when effort is met with distance. The problem was never that you cared. The problem was that you made caring costless. She feels comfortable. She feels safe. She feels sure. And that's the problem. Attraction does not grow inside certainty. It slowly suffocates there. When a woman no longer has to wonder where she stands with you, when your affection is predictable and guaranteed, her emotional investment begins to shut down. Not because she wants it to, because her instincts tell her to. Men are taught that making a woman feel secure is the foundation of a relationship. And on a practical level, that is true. Security builds trust. It builds reliability. It builds cooperation. But attraction operates on a completely different system. Attraction requires tension. It requires uncertainty. It requires the feeling that something meaningful is still at stake. When a woman feels that your interest is locked in, she stops leaning forward emotionally. She stops reaching. She stops checking herself. Her mind no longer circles around you because there is nothing left to figure out. You are already hers. And what is already owned loses its edge. This is where many men get trapped without realizing it. They confuse emotional safety with desirability. They believe that the more open, available, and reassuring they are, the deeper the bond will become. In reality, they are removing the very conditions that make desire possible. Female attraction is not a reward system. It does not respond to effort in a linear way. It responds to perceived value. And value is defined by scarcity, not generosity. The more freely you give your attention, the less weight it carries. This is why women often say they want reassurance, but respond emotionally to men who don't provide it constantly. Her words come from her conscious mind. Her attraction comes from somewhere much older. A woman's nervous system is designed to track relative position. She is constantly, subconsciously asking one question. Is this man above me, beside me, or below me? The answer to that question determines everything she feels. When a man overinvests emotionally, he answers that question for her. He places himself beneath her without saying a word. He rearranges his life around her availability. He adapts his mood to her responses. He waits. He hopes. He reacts. And her body reads that as weakness. Not moral weakness. Not character weakness. But evolutionary weakness. It signals that this man is not a leader. That he is not centered. That his emotional stability depends on her behavior. That realization changes how she feels about him at a visceral level. This is why attraction can disappear even while affection remains. She may still care about you. She may enjoy your company. She may even feel guilty for pulling away. But desire is no longer there, because desire cannot exist without polarity. Security removes polarity. Women often don't understand this themselves. They will say they feel bored, restless, or disconnected. They may blame stress, timing, or chemistry. But the real shift happened much earlier, when emotional certainty replaced emotional tension. From that moment on, her investment declined. And once a woman stops investing emotionally, attraction decays rapidly. This is also why trying harder never works. More reassurance does not restore desire. More availability does not reignite attraction. It accelerates the decline. The man senses distance and responds by giving more. The woman senses more and feels even less. This dynamic destroys countless relationships. The uncomfortable truth is that women do not want to feel fully secure in a man's affection. They want to feel chosen, but not entitled. Desired, but not guaranteed. Close, but not above him. A man who understands this does not withdraw emotionally. He simply stops overgiving. He maintains his direction. He remains calm in uncertainty. He allows space without fear. And that space is what keeps attraction alive. It feels unfair. It feels wrong. It feels backwards. And it is. But it's also real. Women like to believe they are attracted to kindness, loyalty, and emotional safety. Society reinforces this belief. Media repeats it. Therapy culture promotes it. But none of that changes how female attraction actually operates at a biological level. Biology does not care about fairness. It does not care about intentions. It does not care about how well you treat someone. It only cares about survival signals. And when biology and morality collide, biology always wins. For most of human history, women could not afford to choose men based on comfort or kindness alone. Pregnancy made them vulnerable. Children required protection and resources. A poor choice was not an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Women who selected men based on emotional softness did not survive long enough to pass on their preferences. What survived were instincts that favored strength, emotional control, and dominance. Not cruelty, not abuse, but the ability to stand firm under pressure and lead without apology. Those instincts are still active today. Modern women may deny this consciously, but their attraction responses reveal the truth. They lose desire for men who bend too easily. They feel restless with men who prioritize them too much. They grow irritated by men who seek reassurance instead of direction. This is why men who behave morally superior often lose. They believe that being fair, patient, and emotionally generous will be rewarded. Instead, they trigger contempt. Not open contempt, subtle contempt. The kind that shows up as boredom, eye-rolling, disrespect, and eventual withdrawal. A woman may say she wants equality, but her nervous system is scanning for hierarchy. She is asking herself whether this man can lead or whether he needs to be led. Whether he can stand alone or whether he collapses without her validation. When she senses that she has emotional power over a man, attraction begins to decay immediately. Power kills desire when it flows in the wrong direction. This is the part men are never warned about. Women do not feel attraction toward men they can emotionally dominate. They may feel secure with them. They may feel comfortable, but comfort is not desire. A man who constantly adjusts himself to a woman's moods communicates one thing very clearly. He's not centered. He's not stable. He's reactive. And reaction is weakness in the language of biology. Women are not attracted to men who need them emotionally. They are attracted to men who choose them while remaining whole without them. That distinction is everything. This is why women often leave good men and stay with worse ones. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because the worst men do not submit emotionally. They retain their center. They act as if they could lose her and survive just fine. That emotional independence reads as power. Meanwhile, the good man makes her feel like the sun around which his world revolves. And nothing destroys attraction faster than being placed on a pedestal. When a woman realizes that she is the emotional authority in the relationship, desire collapses. Her biology tells her that this man cannot protect her because he cannot even protect himself from her emotions. She may not articulate it that way, but her body feels it. And once desire dies, no amount of kindness resurrects it. This is why appealing to logic never works. This is why explaining your intentions fails. This is why trying to prove your worth accelerates rejection. Attraction does not respond to arguments. It responds to positioning. And biology does not negotiate.